tender, so any private sector with the necessary resources and capacity can bid, and it will go through a process, a rigorous procurement tender process, and whoever comes out of the many people who will apply, I believe, will be chosen. But as I stand here, we haven't decided on any company yet. There was a question on rent tax, that how much is government earning from rent tax. I'm not in a position to provide that. This is a question that should go to, I believe, GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority, the figures. So, Opoku, on your matter, if you can say it again in Chi so that you can respond to it.
Okay, Honorable Bedase, the Femi Opoku, me free Kingdom FM. My question is, Mrana Modebano, and I'm Ibusa say if you rise in the fee, now ordained then also me person 2 years. How is Mbrano basically saying I should fear and say change 1 year, because I don't think say mandatory say okaso farmer what is the tenant going to do? Mbrano say Mbrano be share ama tenant landlord for no will ensure say pampa ye 1 year and ye 6 months and ye 1 month. Say Mbrano be share na aye ama na ye juma. And I did a toss me no and me busan.
Wait a minute. Rent control. Did you get it? You got it. But can you respond in? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm the night toss me no let me can if affordable housing government plans so see affordable housing no. And I make sure say I don't know by any consider say obviously these high rise buildings no one is single room self-contained. And a chamber and house self-contained. Say na a bit aqua rent single room self-contained. We will go for those rooms instead of say they be a bejama landlord for more quantities. Say so be 2 years, 3 years. Is I na government consider say obey taking these measures into consideration. Na ebe boa yentimi nto fie ni bi na ebe rent no. We will go for those rent instead of focusing only on affordable housing ne Sagleme housing projects. But my last question, me busa council here. Who this agent? So now I see agency. Where agents? Or more charge 10% of any amount or landlord. As you charge 7,200, which is 300, and I said 350. 350 for 2 years, which is 8,400. Agents and age 10% of that amount, which is either 720 cedis and I say 840 cedis. And then I buy I don't know if only regulated. Then I buy here to regulate this agency for anyhow I buy to be young for so they free agents for insurance.
Okay, so first question on rent control for a better answer. The second question on rental accommodation, I think is very important. Because at the end of the day, we saw a question with treat I mean can treat. Idea here because you be an bit to me say out of here. We call we are self and then American Mokra, you never be brave or more rent. Now or more twin kakra. Into idea me no ya dream pa. And the idea so a camp ministry no a plan so. You can crack and watch them. Your program be a friend on district housing projects. And Kofo be brave, for instance, you don't call districts or Moko Yejuma. Say, baby, on being your tenant, no, be out on posting crumbs or munji, no more force to say on my bar and crying, any Kumasi, any de Kikam. And you know, that program no ha to say any finance ministry. And a state housing, you risk car, you see a lot of housing development in each district for renting purposes. Into an also no idea that ministry, no a can ministry new plans one, ye do jumapa. So, kwa woman company, MD Waha, a government, they are sure once I say, one in CC Sadano. But said you name no, you got here drove any habai. Into a fina here says canon at the accuracy. But me know you are doing. Yeah. And then so mom obi also with me ato dan no but obet me as a rent. The also is one source of renting. But as a principle, I believe that government should also support housing development. Ebeman Kofu Bibre at me rent. And then I may mention district housing project. Agency in real estate and a more paper diamond and Kofono. And also no idea here. Na let me say the last administration na Kufuor administration term no ye mrebi my parliament kra ejitu mama he say new agency bi a your friend real estate agency council and check kra na you appointing on chief executive no more board o man jumani said so Kufuor we are more into real estate omo per diamond for near the adin nyina no you better register first of all to know say omo are credible people, secondly to put them into the tax bracket, and secondly to regulate sika omo gino and also base regulate of course I mean so be compare diamond near the idea say obenante obeyesi nti bi obe hia bibi kakra. But the new agency will regulate the activity so they are among charge amount to be and conform into an asset and say. But I hope say Metimia are responded to what issues no. That's it. So Posu, please come over and respond on the question of rent. English. Yeah. What are you saying? I can't hear you. Okay, let him finish this, then I'll come back.
So, thank you, Honorable, for the opportunity, and on behalf of my Chief Rent Officer. The issue about enforcement, what is going to happen now is that the new bill is going to mandate every landlord who is going to rent a premises out after the signing of the tenancy agreement. The tenancy agreement must be registered with the Rent Control Department for us to scrutinize it and make sure all illegality in there are taken off. So before you go back to take money, that is the rent advance from the tenant, that tenancy agreement must be registered. So if you don't do that, and go back to collect money from the tenant, it constitutes an offense. So that is the first issue about the enforcement. Okay. And nya yebe ne say ana nya bill no kasa sisia ne say so we a landlord na wo dan aye ready say wo dey renti na wo nyo obi say or be renti sa dan na. The first thing is say we issue the person with tenancy agreement. Then the two of you will sign. After the signing, the bill mandates that we landlord no, I say we registered that tenancy agreement with the Rent Control Department. Now you say, say we 2 years, and you be would say we in dollars. You be share waiting now and sign your approval now. Until say your approval now no, we need to say we tenant on our tenancy and that rent advance, no, and this is a mandatory thing. Say, about making sure say that 2 years thing will be a thing of the past. Also, what Nya Kosuno say, yeah, intensify our rights, the right and responsibility of both landlords and tenants. And it's a new right. Now we insisting on it there. Landlord no obey the right thing. Nya Kosuno say. The bill no make provision for prosecution powers, Rent Control, but this will not come without consultation with the Attorney General. And we also have the chance, say, the existing prosecutors or more courts, no, will collaborate with them. Saying as a case, we just push it to the court. And the answer for the enforcement of the law. You know. Honorable, thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the opportunity. And thank you for the question on rural housing. I think it will put a very good spot on the use of local materials. The department is promoting local materials. Currently, the material we are promoting is the stabilized earth bricks. It's interlocking bricks, which is produced from laterite, and is eco-friendly, as you said. This age of climate change, these blocks are able to adapt to climate change effectively. And I think we promoting this through the training of the artisans and architects across the country. The minister mentioned district housing project. I think these materials again will be used in these housing projects across the country. The problem is that is acceptance of the use of local materials. Ghanaians prefer to use rather the concrete bricks rather than the interlocking bricks. So there's a need for advocacy for the use of this material and for the use of local material. And that is why the minister has given the opportunity for us to have a national advocacy forum to promote these materials across the country. Currently, we should give thanks to government because these materials are being used in Agenda 111. In that case, giving the opportunity for the use of the material. I think it's also being used in other resettlement projects across the country. And so there's a need for the promotion of this material in the country currently. I'll say for the department, what we're doing is to train artisans across the country for the use of these materials, and also to introduce the country to these materials, very important. I would also want to end by thanking the minister for the opportunity, and also to the question is very relevant, and the department will continue to promote the use of these materials in the country for it to be become center for housing, because these materials are, as I said, eco-friendly. They are near to zero energy material. The concrete blocks emit harmful gases. About 90% of harmful gases is emitted by these concrete blocks. And so it is important that we use the local material instead of the use of the, how do you call it, the concrete material. Thank you very much.
We'll take the last set of questions. Okay. So if you've not asked any question, of course, I'll elect to call you. So we'll take 1, 2, 3. If there are 2 more hands, we'll take them as well.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. My name is Ebenezer Kufiamponsa from Daily Guide. Now, 2 quick questions. Today that we find Honorable Minister here, I want him to tell Ghanaians what is the ministry's definition for affordable housing. When we say affordable housing, what do we mean by that? Given the rate of urbanization and development, especially in Accra and other parts of the country, where it is now required that each and every one want to own one form of house or the other. That's the first one. Now the second question is, I want to find out from the minister the state of other housing projects. I wouldn't say affordable. Other housing projects in the country. Then the third one, the last one, Honorable Minister, has to do with why is the government so much interested in these affordable housing projects, while we know honestly, we should tell ourselves honestly that once these are completed, people who are below a certain income stream or bracket will not be able to purchase these, in quotes, what we say affordable housing schemes? Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. My name is Patrick Ofoyinuji. I'm a reporter for the Ghana News Agency. It's refreshing to hear that the government has a strategy or is considering a strategy with the private sector to put up affordable housing. And the minister mentioned that government will be giving some support with infrastructure and incentives. I would like to know specifically what the incentives are. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. We'll take the question.
Thank you very much. My name is Clefa Wright for the Ghanaian Times. Honorable Minister, I would want to find out if, as a country, if we do have a national housing policy in place. If we do, how does that policy ensure proper coordination, harmonization of housing development for all classes? And like my colleague just said, it looks as if any time housing issues come up, the cliche is affordable housing. How affordable is that affordability? So I first and foremost want to know if we actually do have a national housing policy that deals with all the segments of housing in the country.
We can take two more questions. So I've seen a hand at the back. Okay, you have a follow-up question. Okay, so we'll take his first and come to you.
Minister, Medindi Dennis Adu, AJMF TV Africa, and Besemika Chikakra. Masimbisa NSA, Mpembe no yete affordable housing. Na answer na obesi dan no kura be wie no. Na wan ton wie. Ana se wo kono se why like asa. Nti be say minister wa be say ofa so. And as a process, uncle betuma faso, no so wetumi enya bi.
Yo, that's. So take the last question from Nana.
Was not answered. I don't know. I was asking whether it is feasible, as it were, for individuals who have acquired their own land to put up rentals and the government going in to assist them so that the government can have some kind of agreement with that landlord or landlady that, okay, we put in this and that. So when you rent out the house, the government can say to us to recoup its portion of the investment. And my second question, Honorable, these housing projects or whatever you call it, is it meant for only civil servants and public servants? What of individuals who have come to Accra here to do their own business? They want to a place to lay their heads because the condition is such that it is only tailored towards government workers, to put in quotes. There are other workers who are not working in government setups. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. I take that to be the last question. So we'll invite Honorable Minister back for his responses and also his concluding remarks.
Thank you, Minister. The last but one person who spoke, we will have to restate your question because I didn't get it. But the first question has to be affordability. That what is, when you say affordable housing, what do you mean? What's the ministry's definition of affordable housing? That's the question. The thing about affordable housing or affordability, even when you understand the word affordability, it tells you that it's relativity. It's something that is relative. Because what is affordable to me might not be affordable to another person. But the United Nations has provided a basis for understanding what affordability means in affordable housing. And he's saying that where an individual is able to spend up to 30% of his income to access housing, whether by renting or by using it as a mortgage. Okay, so that if you have your money and 30% is used for rent or used for mortgage, is considered to be affordable. So that's how the whole world is looking at this affordability in housing development. You asked of other housing projects. Government can only talk about public housing, which affordable housing is one of them. But the rest of housing projects, individual housing and all that, everybody has the chance to build, has the right to build his or her own house. But we are guided by research and statistics, which says that 60% of Ghanaians require some sort of support from government to be able to access housing. And that is what is informing government policy to be able to come out with an affordable housing program that will provide some sort of subsidy. And that's what I mentioned in my earlier statement, that the government will be supporting with land and infrastructure and incentives. And we provided these lands in a form of site and service scheme. We give it to the developers to come in and build. And once they build, then knowing very well that the price would have reduced. And because government is subsidizing, we have a stake in the determination of the final price. That one will not be the case where, like the one I spoke about earlier on, where this Sagleme affordable housing project, we are saying that we are giving it to the private sector with its own money to come and do everything and sell it. This particular one, government is investing in it, so government has a say in the determination of the price. There was a question about incentives, that what are the kind of incentives we'll be giving to the private developers to go into affordable housing. Apart from the land and the infrastructure, many of these developers also get their staff if they are not using local materials. In fact, the government affordable housing requires a certain percentage of your materials to be used, should come from Ghana, like using local building materials. But if there's a case that you cannot use local building materials, then you have to import. And when you import, you provide incentives in the terms of tax, import duty tariffs, exemptions, and all that. So those are the kind of incentives that I was talking about. Is there a national housing policy or a housing policy for Ghana? Yes, we do. And this was adopted in the year 2015. And it's a policy that has guided government action up to now. In fact, the housing policy suggests that you should have a national housing authority that should guide public housing development in this country. Since I assumed office, I have had the opportunity to travel to countries as part of my official duties. And one thing that I've realized that in every country, there is a government agency within the ministry that is responsible for public housing. In Ghana, we don't have. As a ministry, our job is to formulate policies and also provide oversight for all these institutions, monitoring and evaluation and all that. But we don't have an institution whose sole duty is to plan and manage housing development in this country. I believe that has contributed a situation where we have the reason why we have huge housing deficit, which is currently in excess of 1.8 housing units. So because it is out of this national housing policy that Cabinet has already approved the setting up of a national housing authority to be called Ghana Housing Authority. And we are currently working on the bill. Once the bill is ready for cabinet approval, we go through the necessary process with Parliament for consideration and approval. The strategy that I also mentioned, that the provision of land and infrastructure and all that, is something that is also stated in the housing policy. So all these things that we are doing is informed by the national housing policy, which was developed by all experts in the housing and built environment space. Now, Dennis, so oh, they're now country, you know, my has a bit more responding in tree. A quite best sooner, and conformate me, and your dinibi. Say, you did assassin on any infrastructure, and young when you are necessary, my private sector and say, oh, be sit down or her. A private developer, Nejuma, say, obey Sasia marketing of the property, especially so Sasia will see her. And when he has over Triama, yes, you and son of Watum. Into any plans you say, when you lay out, that's what Sasia here, obey advertising. Now, I feel no name, so banker, we know banker Kokasa. And I will know, and yes, we are civil servants on Kwan, ya mom, and I say, public servants and our government workers. Ubi or ye jume bia, we because a dedicated source of income bia. Call banker, I call cashier bank say, a diary in percento. Intino, tia, Sikano mame. Na etete monthly, say. Into only bank no na bear agree. Enti this particular one there, and you say, yen perceive so. No be obi o di nisika obi o sika bebre no abeto bia no baba ko no ato dan be 20 and 5 and say na bia o dey na in housing development we do recognize that it happens. We call it gentrification, where the real people the project is intended for no don't get access to it, but scaffold no makoto na omo dey here on the bed. There be person we be sir. In the private sector, no, you will make sure say you go through that process instead of be ordinary person be so when you adwuma wa bam kra na say why you adwuma na say we say we sika or bank na say no bank be kasa na based on your salary or your income per month no when a private developer and be arrangement no way to am bank na kakra until we be sa na until it's open to, it will be open to all and yes civil servants on we adwuma bank o we adwuma o makola o baby the here say until na na dey be two amafo for say sika bia benya bia no make sure say would be kwa to bank say the bank so be hu say we credit worthy, yeah, but no people say be a here for pa bede omotima enya bi. The truth of the matter, like I mentioned earlier, it's not everybody who can own a house. And you be na ebetime enya sika at all a dime. Research who say 35 Ghanaians, 35% of Ghanaians say a bank must support we say they make Kenya. So 35 to die. And you know, in such a situation, so a bank will scar. Okay, Britain, America, especially Europe, about to share the seat dying. A man could so muntinum crowd for free near the day. And our bank will scar a bit me. Now he see the giant day. It needs to scan a bit me the eye. When our economy improves and we get more income, we'll be able to look at that segment of the population. And you know, Sanko for idea. A bad thing say, omit me access this affordable housing program in America. But like you mentioned about rental accommodations, no, you the neighbor home, so the bear, when you can and toda na, when you sika etmia renting, na when you baby adam. With us. No, there was somebody that I needed him to rephrase to say the question. I didn't quite get it. The two nina pacho. I didn't get.
I was asking whether it's possible for individuals to enter into some kind of arrangement with government or ministry, so that let's say I'm setting up, putting up a single self-contained house or chamber hall to rent out to people, and I don't have the means, but can the government come to assist me so that When I finish the house, the government can then sit down with me and arrange how to get its money back. But the house can be given out to individuals. My second question, I was asking what your scheme for housing is only meant for civil servants and public servants. Would that necessarily affect other people? Because there are some people who are working private operations.
The second question, I answered that.
Oh, okay.
I've already answered that. The first one, currently we don't have any program like that. But we do have a program like that for public servants. That's what the public servants loan scheme. Where if you're a public servant and you want to build, we have a scheme under our ministry, headed by Dr. Richard Asante, that can assist you, give you some loan to finish it, and you pay it back. He is here, and I would like him to throw more light on it. Thank you. Richard.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And I think Public Servant Housing Loan Scheme, as the name indicates, is a state institution mandated by the Act that established the institution to provide funding for public servants to enable them either build from the scratch, or if you have already started your building, they also take loan from to complete the house, or if you have the house and the house is a bit dilapidated, you can also take loan to refurbish the house. So these are the things that we do. As part of what we do, the deduction in terms of the repayment of the loans are done through your salaries. So like Honorable Minister spoke about in terms of the affordability coefficient aspect of it. You know, when you look at the laws of the country, you realize that the law talks about how much that can be deducted from individual salaries. So when you even take a loan from a bank, the bank cannot go beyond that particular percentage, between 35 to sometimes 40%, about 40% for certain individuals within a particular income bracket. So based on that, that is what we do. To be able to assess our services, apart from coming to our offices to sort of buy forms, you can also go to our website and buy some of these forms through the online portal that has been established so that you can apply and get these loans. These are for government workers or quasi-governmental institutions. And remember that the payment will be done through your salary. So this is what we do. And in terms of some of the things that we put in to sort of also support public servants who take loans from us, as we speak, there are institutions that deals in production of local materials, including tile manufacturing companies, roofing sheets companies, and including our own very own gas, that we've had some agreement with them. That when you take loan from us and you're a public servant, and you go to these institutions that we have dotted and already have agreement with these institutions, you'll be able to buy products at a discounted value. There are tiles manufacturing companies that are giving you 20% because you came through Public Servant Housing Loan Scheme to procure loans. Roofing sheets companies are giving you 15%. Some of them are also giving you 20%. So these and many more innovations have been put in place to support be patrons who would want to come to us. And I think that beyond that, when you check that in terms of housing and also procurement mortgages from banks, when you go, you pay insurance of about 4-5% in terms of the premium on the insurance. But when through the leadership of the Honorable Minister and his inspiration, the measures that we put in place, we've been able to come to a point where when you take loans from Public Housing Loan Scheme, you're able to pay 1.5% on the premium. So at least we cover the loans so that if anything happens to you in terms of permanent disability or death, we'll be able to sort of guarantee the funds for government and also on lending to future patrons who want to come to our offices. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Minister.
So, I think all too soon we are done. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you all for coming, especially our friends from the media. This work that you are doing, there's no way that we can succeed without you. You remember at the latter part of my presentation, I mentioned that citizens should be intentional, especially in the way we dispose of solid waste. And that has contributed greatly towards this annual perennial flooding that we are facing in this country. And this is an area that we continue to ask for support from the media to continue to help us engage the public on how we dispose of solid waste. And also our development professionals and the district assemblies and how they issue permits regarding our settlement planning and development control. It's only this that we can have an orderly development where structures are not built on waterways and all that. These are very important steps that we can take apart from government actions in terms of investment in construction of drains and all that. These are actions that you can take to prevent the perennial flooding. And I mentioned this because it is a very important area in our ministry that we are working on. But because this one was very specific, I didn't touch on it in the main presentation. And next time, when I come, I'm sure I'll have the opportunity to touch on it. So on a Sunday that you are supposed to be with your families, you have decided to come and help us carry our story to the Ghanaian people. Thank you very much once again. God bless you.
Honorable Minister, thank you so much. I would also like to thank all members of your delegation for making time for this important exercise, and also to our government spokespersons who joined us this Sunday afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are grateful for your time, and we believe, as you heard from Honorable Minister, you will help us spread the word. Thank you so much and have a good afternoon.
No matter where you go, remember the road that will lead you home.
Watching a GTV live event,